Today on Mysterious Morsels, we're talking about androids. So droids are kind of an interesting thing. For me, I go right to Star Wars and I think of the happy little R2D2 and C3PO, and I think back to Buck Rogers and Tweaky, and I think of positive things. Danger Will Robinson, from some of their earlier androids, even Rosie from the Jetsons. So it was always like a robot or an android situation that went well and was helpful, and there was, a good human interaction. But sometimes androids can go really awry. The most, I think, prevalent example would be an Alien. Now, they straighten it out, but in Alien, the first android just loses it, and he's pre-programmed to hurt them and to preserve the life form, and he's against them, and they don't know it, and he has a higher level of security clearance than anybody else, so it turned into a big icky. What's weird is that they would go on, because, arguably Alien and Aliens, Aliens, I think, was better than Alien. It did a better job of telling the story, and certainly the tech had come a long way. But in Aliens, this Bishop character gets created, and everything's cool, and then, that goes on to an entire franchise of its own that we talk about later. But that idea that they kind of perfect him was almost like a Data from Star Trek. Like, all of a sudden, he's a good character, and he's helpful, and he's protecting the humans, and he's a good little android. Where it went bad, initially in the first one, he was just completely off the hook. And eventually, too, if you think about like the droid armies in Star Wars, where you have droid versus droid, so you even have droids jumping ship from sides, because when you get into the like Rogue One, you start to see, I don't know, it's K7 or whatever he was, not K9, whatever that droid was. Like he comes into. He was reprogrammed, like he was a negative droid, if you will. He was on the captured by the Resistance, and he was on the side of the New Order, and then they took him, reprogrammed him, and he became part of the Resistance and the Rebels. So that's the first time you see like a switching sides, but it goes back to the droid armies, where they're kind of just mindless automatons, not to be confused with clones, because they were different. They were like stormtroopers based off of a human. Droids are just literally that, droids. They're lifeless, but sometimes they emulate people, and sometimes they get that emotion chip that can cause troubles, as is the case that Data had experienced in Star Trek. The other kind of droid thing you might think of, not so much like army-based, but just the idea that there's like iRobot, where they become in a pack, and they can just, there was the good ones and the bad ones. There was obviously the one droid became self-aware, and proving again why AI scares me beyond. And once the Vicky character becomes self-aware, that's it. All the droids become her little physical arms and legs body, and then they go after people, and they had all sorts of USR contracts signed with everybody, so droids can go horribly awry, and sometimes, too, like, they were really made up in iRobot to make a face and kind of look more humane, or human, as the case may be, but they acted more humanely as well, and they would sort of have that calm presence, but they were saying oogie things like, please step away from the door. Please step away from the door. We're trying to avoid human casualties. And just that idea of something so calm and serene and tranquil giving you like a command that's meant to be negative, and you're trapped basically, but in such a have a nice day way, is terrifying. I equate it to the baby face in the end of The Matrix, when there's this baby with like a nasty voice. I digress, but that's just another kind of thing. It's sort of like when you're waiting for water, and you get 7-Up. Like you just have one, you're focused on one direction, and then Shazam comes out of nowhere, and you're totally thrown. And that can be like the jump scare and the spooky thing that's unsettling, because you're waiting for a certain path or voice or background to go with this person, or this storyline, and then all of a sudden, nope, just kidding. That was not something that you would see. So I don't know. I just think the droids definitely have a place in I'll say the sci-fi definitely, and possibly in the horror genre as well, because even though we generally have good ones and think about them as helpers, and they're all there to assist humans and protect humans, there's a lot of them that we're not, or reprogrammed or learned on their own to not be part of the system and knock the system. So I'm sure there's a lot of examples out there in different movies and things that I've certainly missed. But that's what I was thinking about with those basic ones, from animations like the Jetsons back in the day, up to now and including iRobot, which that movie stands up considering the time. I mean, it was early 2000s, but it's supposed to be set very futuristically. It's a good watch. I do like it, and it does hold up. But let me know in the comments, what's your favorite droid or horror story with a droid? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you trust them? Do you not trust them? Because they're not human. All lights and clockwork, as Will Smith says in the iRobot series. But yeah, let me know what's your favorite, because I'm very curious. And go ahead and scare the like button, and subscribe, because obviously you want to hear more crazy content like this. At least I hope you do. And we'll catch you on the next episode of Mysterious Morsels.